It's Time Warner Cable's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined by Nanette Barragan. She is a councilwoman in Hermosa Beach. You were elected in November, and I know you're just you, but you were a trailblazer. You are the first Latina elected to the council in Hermosa Beach, a city with not a very large Latino population. How does that make you feel?
Well, it feels great. We have about a 6% of Latinos who vote in Hermosa Beach. It's certainly not an issue that I ran on.
Right.
But, you know, I look to other Latino women who have paved the way ahead of me.
Right.
And so for me, again, it was not something I talked about,
right.
but I spoke to the issues and what people cared about, and I'm glad that they judged me on that.
So let's talk about an issue that's been presented, or will be presented, I should say, to the folks of Hermosa Beach. We've all been to the downtown area. It's a lot of fun, maybe too much fun. And I know that can cause some consternation among some of the Hermosa Beach residents. There is a proposal whereby there would be a boutique hotel developed in that downtown area, potentially changing the flavor of the area and possibly creating catalytic consequences that could really revitalize and revamp the feel. What's your sense of this proposal and what the voters will see or think?
Well, right now the hotel developer where the old Mermaid site used to be is coming to the community and holding workshops to tell people about what they'd like to do there, to see how they feel about the project. They are talking about potentially increasing the height limit, which has some people in the city rumbling about that. So it will be interesting to see what the voters say. However, you bring up a good point, and that is adding a hotel has the potential to change the culture downtown because it's going to be a higher end hotel. You
mentioned height limit, and that would really be, as I understand it, the only reason why the voters would get involved. If it had just been a regular standard situation, it would just go to the Planning Commission, approved up or down. But as you told me, Hermosa Beach has a 35 feet height limit. The developer wants to go to 45 feet. That's where the voters would have to come in and say yes or no. That's correct. If this hotel developer wants an increase, they will have to go to the voters. And so right now what they're doing is holding the workshops to see how the community feels about it. And it would be an at-large election, not just people in that neighborhood, I would presume? Correct, it would be at-large. But I understand that recently, or within the last decade or two, the voters had been asked this very question with regard to a different development. And where do they come down? Overwhelmingly, they were against the height limit. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a change in opinion or not. Right now, it's not scheduled to go on the ballot. They're just in initial talks. But they did purchase this piece of land at a very high price, and they are interested in putting a hotel. So to clarify, the voters said no, do not increase the height limit. Correct. So what's your sense of the community's feel and flavor? Because look, you know, there have been a few news stories about Hermosa's downtown, and you know, could it be that in the last decade or so there is the feeling that Hermosa is such a crown jewel that, you know, let's give it a shot with a different approach. You don't have to completely wipe out the bars, but let's, you know, try to turn it up a bit. Well, there's certainly a lot of talk about what we can do to redevelop the downtown, and that's something the council's been looking at. And we have a downtown economic development plan going right now and studying that. So it's hard to tell. From the people that I hear from, they don't want the height increase. Really? And that tends to be people who have been in the community for a long time. Would a height increase impact views of folks above? Or do you know, if you know? I'm not sure yet. It's so early in the early stages. It's hard to tell. I think the bigger issue is that people want Hermosa Beach to remain a small town feel and not allow the development of the Strand and the area there and not put in, you know, increased building. Tough living in paradise. I can imagine, real tough. Her name is Nanette Barragan. She is a councilwoman in the beautiful city of Hermosa Beach, California. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.